Did you see this cartoon? All right. This cartoon, let me find it on my phone if you haven't seen it. All right. I'm going to try to make it big. That's what she said. I'm going to try to make it big so everybody can see it. This is the cartoon that has gone viral all over Twitter and Facebook and everything else. All right. I want to zoom in on Facebook so you guys can see it. I'm going to zoom in here on Periscope so everybody can see it. All right. Everybody should be able to see that. Everybody has decided on Twitter that this cartoonist is a horrible racist for sending this out. All right. Can everybody see it? That's Serena Williams. And for people who are listening on the podcast, it's Serena Williams. You can Google it. She is stomping on her racket at the U.S. Open. And there is a guy talking to a tennis match. And the other person says, "Can you just let her win?" All right. Somehow the internet has decided that this is racist. All right. This is a really, really strange situation that we've got in. It's not remotely racist. This is how cartoonists work. They take a character and they exaggerate it for comedic effect. Every cartoonist in America draws Donald Trump throwing fits all the time. They did the same thing with Barack Obama. They did the same thing with Abraham Lincoln. This is how it works, okay? This is how cartoonists work. They satirize the features of powerful people to draw them down to earth. And I don't know why this is remotely surprising. And they often take physical characteristics of that person and they exaggerate it for comedic effect. The fact that people don't understand that on social media, I think, is often a function of a lack of experience and understanding in their worldview because they are so isolated. They don't even know what cartoonists do because they've probably never read a newspaper or seen a political cartoon. It is caricature, okay? And every time you get caricatured, it isn't racist. Everybody getting treated the same is about as lack of racist as you can get. And the fact that Serena Williams in 2018 can turn an argument with an umpire into an opportunity for her to demonstrate sexism and racism in the world is so upsetting to me in many respects, because it's all about creating this idea of victimization. When I was growing up, and I'm not that old, 39 years old, I was told that you don't want to be a victim, right? For most of my life, I was taught stand up to the bully. All my childhood, I was taught stand up to the bully. Don't allow yourself to be a victim. Now what we do is we teach kids to curl up into the fetal position and be afraid of everything. And this goes everywhere, okay? This goes across all of life. There's a great story recently I was reading about parents not letting their kids go down to the playground in their neighborhoods because they're afraid that something bad is going to happen to them. We live in a media culture marinated in fear, convincing us that we are in perpetual danger because it makes the media networks more money. And this translates across everywhere. Kids today in America are more safe than kids were in the 1940s and the 1950s statistically, okay? There is less violence in America today than there was in the 1950s. What we are more aware of is when that violence happens. But we are very poor at understanding the probabilities associated with that violence. Racism and sexism are wrong and bad, but racism and sexism have never been more rare than they are right now in American history, okay? And my concern is when you create artificial examples of racism and sexism, what you end up doing is actually creating a lot of different Donald Trumps, because there are people out there who punch back against a false narrative and drive it home to an audience that feels it even if they don't know exactly what they feel, okay? I'm telling you right now, Serena Williams, I read the great piece in the New York Times by Martina Navratilova. She wasn't embodying what we want a top athlete to embody. I'm not saying I don't lose my temper sometimes, But you don't see a lot of parents out there saying, oh, I lost my temper, and the reason why people were mad at me was because of my race or my gender, right? And also, wanting some, this is what Martina Navratilova did. It's a really smart perspective. She said, wanting to be equal with men doesn't mean that you aspire to behave as poorly as male tennis stars. It's a really great point that I think gets lost. Equality does not mean that you aspire to the worst attributes of the other sex.